Out in the freezing waters of the North Pacific, deep inside Japan's territorial waters, where the waves slam down like walls of concrete, a centuries-old conflict still plays out between humans and the giants of the sea. This is where Japan's coastal fishermen face off against the massive whales that have shaped their lives for generations. In these rugged coastal towns, fishermen still chase the largest mammals on Earth, just as their ancestors once did. For them, whaling has never been just a job. It's a legacy, a tradition passed down through families, a sacred bond with nature that has guided and defined entire communities for hundreds of years. But today, this ancient practice is entering a new and complicated era, and the fishermen are not ready to let it go. So why does Japan continue to pursue the world's biggest creatures? Who are the men daring enough to battle rough seas and colossal beasts? And what truly happens once they sail out on a whaling expedition? Let's explore the story of Japan's struggle to keep a fading tradition alive, and the massive whales caught between cultural survival and the threat of extinction. For centuries, the hunting of giant whales has been far more than a means of survival in Japanese coastal communities. These enormous sea creatures, some weighing up to 190,000 kilograms, the largest animals on Earth, were seen as more than food or resources. They were considered gifts from nature, treasures to be respected and honored. As a result, whales have held a special place in Japanese culture for centuries. Ancient records, including Japan's oldest surviving chronicle, the Kojiki, show that whales were known and hunted by coastal communities long before modern whaling ever existed. Many of these communities believed whales were sacred visitors, messengers of the sea deities who controlled both danger and abundance. Out of deep respect, they followed one strict rule: no part of a whale should ever be wasted. Using every piece was their way of honoring the sea gods and showing gratitude for the life they had taken. Historical records show that whale meat was considered a premium food ingredient in the imperial regions around Kyoto, Japan's ancient capital known for its cultural and political importance, during the Genki period, a short era from 1570 to 1573. At that time, the main traditional method of whaling was the use of hand-thrown harpoons. With this method, fishermen set up land-based stations where they would slice and process the whales, while the actual hunt took place along the Japanese coast. Fishermen targeted whales that drifted close to shore, became stranded, or wandered into shallow bays. Using small boats and simple hand harpoons, they attempted to bring down these massive sea creatures. It was a demanding and time-consuming process, and because of that, only a limited number of whales could be caught. Each successful hunt was rare and highly valued. It wasn't until 1677, during the Edo period from 1603 to 1868, that a more advanced whaling method called net whaling was developed in Taiji village in the Kishu region. Unlike the old hand harpoon technique, this method involved spreading huge nets across the sea. Fishermen would drive whales into the nets, trapping them and restricting their movement before striking them with harpoons. Around the same time, other methods also emerged. In Kyoto Prefecture, the net cutoff method was introduced, while in the Saikai region, fixed nets were designed specifically to catch giant whales. These innovations allowed whaling communities to increase their catch. However, everything changed in the 1820s with the arrival of American and other Western whalers in the Northern Pacific. Their presence caused whale populations to decline sharply, sparking fierce competition. As whales became scarce, Japanese fishermen struggled to maintain their domestic industry. To revive it, they tried adopting American whaling techniques, but these efforts failed. With traditional methods no longer enough, Japan turned to modern Norwegian whaling technology. introducing the Norwegian-style harpoon gun, a major shift from centuries of hand-thrown harpoons. By adopting these modern techniques, Japanese fishermen showed their commitment to preserving their whaling heritage, modernizing tradition to stay connected with their ancestors. Yet even with tradition on their side, Japan's whaling practices have faced global criticism. So how is Japan balancing a centuries-old tradition with international regulations? Let's take a closer look. As Japanese fishermen embraced modern whaling methods, concerns over dwindling whale populations in the North Pacific began to rise in the early 1900s. Japan knew it had to act fast, so in 1909, it introduced its first whaling control regulations, taking steps to align its practices with international agreements like the 1931 Geneva Convention. By the 1930s, Japan's deep-sea whaling fleets were operating under strict rules that limited their catches. However, the scrutiny only increased when Japan joined the International Whaling Commission, the IWC, in 1951. For the first time, inspectors boarded deep-sea whaling vessels to monitor every move of the fishermen, ensuring international standards were followed. Even as Japan continued whaling to sustain both an industry and a centuries-old tradition, criticism mounted. The IWC pressured Japan to stop whaling altogether, urging it to become a non-whaling nation like many others. But Japan resisted, defending a practice that had shaped generations of coastal communities. After decades of struggle, Japan finally withdrew from the IWC in 2019, arguing that the organization was no longer serving its original purpose regarding whaling. This decision allowed Japan to resume commercial whaling, though only within its territorial waters, largely confined to its exclusive economic zone. After nearly 30 years, the ancient practice was back in the hands of those who knew it best. And here lies the heart of the story. Japanese whaling isn't just a profession, it's a family legacy. Many fishermen are third or fourth generation whalers, carrying on traditions that stretch all the way back to the Edo period. Their lives, their skills, and their culture are inseparable from the ocean and the whales they pursue. Now that we've seen the lengths Japan has gone to preserve this centuries-old tradition, let's take a closer look at how whaling actually takes place. Out in the vast, icy expanse of the North Pacific, Japanese fishermen wage a battle against more than just whales. They face the raw fury of the sea itself. Towering waves crash against their vessel, cold winds bite through every layer of clothing, and the ocean seems to rise up in defiance, as if Mother Nature herself is protecting her giant inhabitants. On board, every crew member is on high alert. At the highest point of the ship, trained watchers scan the horizon, eyes straining for any ripple or splash that could signal a whale's presence. This is not a quick task. It can take hours, demanding patience, focus, and unwavering attention. One small movement on the water could mean the difference between success and a long, fruitless day. When a whale finally breaks the surface, the atmosphere shifts instantly. The captain steers the vessel with precision toward the sighting. The harpooner braces at his mounted cannon, muscles coiled, eyes locked on the target. The seconds stretch like hours as the boat closes in. Then, the shot. The harpoon rockets forward, its sharp, spring-loaded claws embedding deep into the whale's massive body, holding fast against the enormous strength of the animal. If the first strike doesn't finish the job, the harpooner fires again and again until the whale is finally subdued. A thick towing line is attached from the harpoon to the vessel, and the crew begins the careful task of hauling the whale through the turbulent sea. On modern vessels, machinery can aid this process, pulling the giant leviathan more efficiently, yet the work remains grueling. Because of its sheer size, the whale cannot be processed on the ship. It must be towed to a nearby shore-based processing facility, a journey that tests both the skill of the crew and the strength of the vessel. But for these fishermen, the hunt is about far more than the capture. Every stage, from spotting the whale to securing it, from towing it to honoring it, is performed with care, precision, and respect, reflecting centuries of knowledge passed down through generations. For these fishermen, every stage of the hunt is a connection to the sea deities and to the ancestors who taught them these traditions, binding them to the ocean and the life it sustains. Today, Japan's whaling industry sits at a crossroads, caught between centuries-old tradition and modern controversy. While Japan defends whaling as a vital part of its cultural heritage, many countries around the world condemn the practice. But for the fishermen who dedicate their lives to this challenging craft, the story is far more than politics. It's a story of identity, survival, and the struggle to preserve a legacy that was written long before their time. And if you've enjoyed this deep dive into Japan's whaling history, stay tuned for part 2, where we'll reveal how these magnificent sea giants are processed and turned into various products consumed across Japan today. So give this video a thumbs up, share it, and subscribe to our channel for more captivating stories from the edge of tradition and the sea. See you in the next one.